Dr. Marcus Kane stared at the screen in his lab aboard the research ship New Horizons. The numbers did not make sense. He had been studying human DNA for 15 years, but had never seen anything like this deep. Inside the genetic code he found something that should not exist. It was a gene that seemed to be turned off by force. Kane rubbed his tired eyes and looked again. The gene was there, but it was wrapped in strange proteins that kept it from working. These proteins were not natural. They looked like tiny machines made by someone else, someone who wanted to keep this gene quiet. He called up more DNA samples. From the ship's database, every human sample showed the same thing. The gene was there in every person, but it was always locked away. Kane felt his heart beat faster. This could change everything they knew about humans. The lab door opened and Commander Lisa Brooks walked in. She was tall with short brown hair and carried herself like a soldier. Kane had worked with her for 3 years and trusted her more than anyone else on the ship. "Working late again," Marcus Brooks said as she looked at his messy desk. "You missed dinner." Kane turned his chair around to face her. "Lisa, you need to see this. I found something in human DNA that should not be there." Brooks moved closer to the screen. She did not understand the science, but she knew Kane well enough to know when he was excited about something important. What kind of something? Kane pointed at the screen. "This gene here. It exists in every human, but something is keeping it turned off. Look at these proteins around it. They are not natural. Someone put them there." "Someone?" Brooks asked. "You mean like aliens?" Kane nodded slowly. "That is exactly what I mean. These proteins look like they were made by advanced technology. They have been in our DNA for a long time, maybe thousands of years." Brooks felt cold. Humanity had only made contact with aliens 5 years ago when the Galactic Council revealed themselves. The aliens said they had been watching Earth but claimed they never interfered with human development. If Kane was right, then the aliens had been lying. "What does this gene do?" Brooks asked. Kane shook his head. "I do not know yet. The proteins keep it so tightly locked that I cannot study its function. But the structure suggests it might control brain development or physical abilities. Maybe both." The ship's communication system buzzed. "Commander Brooks, please report to the bridge. Ambassador Zefkar wishes to speak with you." Brooks and Kane looked at each other. Zefkar was the alien diplomat assigned to their ship. He rarely asked for meetings this late. "Save everything," Marcus Brooks said quietly. "Make backups and hide them. Something tells me we should keep this quiet for now." Kane nodded and began copying his files to hidden storage devices. As Brooks left for the bridge, he continued working. The more he studied the locked gene, the more questions he had. Why would someone want to keep part of human DNA turned off? What would happen if it was turned on? On the bridge, Brooks found Zefkar waiting for her. He looked like a tall, thin human, but his skin was pale blue and his eyes were too large. He usually seemed calm, but tonight he appeared nervous. "Commander, I have received word that Dr. Kane is conducting genetic research on human samples," Zefkar said. "This research must stop immediately." Brooks kept her face neutral. "Dr. Kane is our chief geneticist. Genetic research is his job." "Not this kind of research," Zefkar said firmly. "There are certain aspects of human biology that are protected by galactic law. Dr. Kane must destroy all data and samples related to his current project." "What galactic law?" Brooks asked. "Humanity just joined the council. We were not told about laws that restrict our own medical research." Zefkar's large eyes seemed to glow in the bridge lighting. "There are many laws that new species must learn. This particular law exists to protect humans from dangerous knowledge. Trust me, Commander. This research path leads only to trouble." Brooks felt anger rising in her chest. "Dangerous knowledge about our own DNA. What are you not telling us about humans?" "I am telling you what you need to know," Zefkar said. "Stop the research. Destroy the data. This is not a request." After the alien left, Brooks returned to Kane's lab. She found him still working at his computer with several data storage devices scattered across his desk. "The alien wants you to stop your research and destroy everything," she told him. Kane looked up with fire in his eyes. "Then we are definitely onto something important." His reaction proves these genes matter. Someone has been controlling human development for a very long time. "What do you want to do?" Brooks asked. Kane smiled for the first time that day. "I want to find out what makes us human. Really human, not the limited version someone else decided we should be." Brooks nodded. "Then we keep working. But we do it quietly, and we do it fast. I have a feeling time is running out." Outside the ship, Earth hung in space, looking peaceful and blue. Neither Brooks nor Kane knew that their discovery would soon change. Not just humanity, but the entire galaxy. The forbidden gene had been sleeping for thousands of years, but it was finally time to wake up. 3 weeks passed since Ambassador Zethkar ordered the research to stop. Dr. Kane had pretended to obey but continued his work in secret. He moved his lab to Captain Nina Rodriguez's ship, the Star Runner, which was docked at the far end of the station. Rodriguez was an old friend who asked no questions when Kane needed a place to hide. Dr. Alan Carter joined the secret research team. Carter was a xenobiologist who studied alien life forms, but he was also curious about the locked human gene. Together, Kane and Carter made discoveries that scared them both. The proteins keeping the gene locked were not just alien technology. They were tiny robots called nanobots that lived inside human cells. These nanobots had been passed down from parents to children for thousands of years like a hidden infection that never made anyone sick. "Look at this," Kane said, pointing to his screen. "The nanobots are not just blocking the gene. They are actively repairing themselves when human cells try to remove them. The nanobots rebuild and get stronger." Carter studied the data with growing alarm. These things are designed to last forever. Someone wanted to make sure this gene never gets turned on. Kane had been running computer models to predict what the gene might do if it was activated. The results were incredible. "Alan, if I am right, this gene could increase human intelligence by 50%. Maybe more. It might also improve physical strength and healing speed. No wonder someone wanted to keep it locked," Carter said. "Humans with abilities like that would be very dangerous to whoever put these nanobots in." U.S. Captain Rodriguez entered the hidden lab carrying coffee and food for the two scientists. She was a short woman with black hair and quick dark eyes. Her ship was old but fast, and she knew how to avoid attention from council patrols. "Any luck figuring out how to unlock this gene?" she asked. Kane shook his head. "The nanobots are too smart. Every time I try to disable them, they adapt and become harder to attack. We need help from someone who knows more about this technology." "I might know someone," Rodriguez said quietly. "There's an old alien on Titan Station who sells information to smugglers. She calls herself Elder Vashti. Word is she has been around for a long time and knows secrets the council wants forgotten." 2 days later, the Star Runner docked at Titan Station. The station was built inside Saturn's largest moon and served as a trading post for merchants who preferred to avoid council regulation. Kane and Carter followed Rodriguez through crowded markets filled with beings from dozens of different worlds. Elder Vashti lived in a small shop deep in the station's lower levels. She looked ancient even by alien standards. Her skin was gray and wrinkled, and her forearms moved slowly as she sorted through old books and strange artifacts. "Dr. Kane," she said before he could introduce himself. "I have been expecting you." Kane felt surprised. "You know who I am. I know what you have discovered," Vashti said. "The forbidden gene that sleeps in human DNA. The nanobots that keep it locked. The Council's lies about first contact with Earth." Carter stepped forward. "Then you know why the gene was locked. Can you help us unlock it?" Vashti's old eyes seemed to look right through him. "I can tell you the truth, but you may not like what you learn. Humans are not from Earth. Your people are the children of a race called the Terrans. They were the greatest warriors the galaxy has ever known." Kane felt the world spin around him. "That is impossible. Human evolution on Earth goes back millions of years. Evolution that was guided and controlled," Vashti said. "The Terrans were defeated in a great war long ago. The survivors were scattered across the galaxy, and their memories were erased. Earth was chosen as a prison world where Terrans would be kept weak and harmless." "Prison world," Rodriguez said angrily. "Who had the right to do that to an entire species?" Vashti pointed upward toward the stars. "The Galactic Council. They feared what Terrans might become if they were allowed to develop naturally. So they created the nanobots to keep human abilities suppressed. Earth was supposed to remain primitive forever. Carter was reading data on his portable computer, but humans developed space travel and advanced technology anyway. How did we break free? The nanobots are failing, Vashti explained. They were designed to last for thousands of years, but not forever. Some humans are beginning to overcome the suppression naturally. The Council's recent contact with Earth was not friendship. It was panic. Kane understood now why Zethkar had been so afraid of his research. They are trying to maintain control before too many humans wake up. Yes, Vashti said, but it may already be too late. The forbidden gene is starting to activate on its own in some people. Soon the Council will have to choose between killing all humans or accepting that their prison has failed. She handed Kane a small device that looked like a medical scanner. This will show you which humans have active nanobots and which ones are beginning to break free. Use it wisely. The Council has agents everywhere, and they will kill to keep their secrets safe. As they prepared to leave, Vashti called out one final warning. Dr. Kane, the Terrans were not just warriors. They were created to fight something far worse than the Council. When humans fully awaken, you will remember why your ancestors were both feared and needed. The galaxy may depend on what you do with that knowledge. Back on the Star Runner, Kane used Vashti's scanner on himself and his companions. Rodriguez showed the strongest signal indicating her nanobots were already weakening. Carter's nanobots were still strong, but beginning to show cracks. Kane's own skin revealed something that made his hands shake. My nanobots are almost completely inactive, he told the others. The gene is trying to turn itself on. Over the next few days, Kane felt changes in his body and mind. He could think faster and needed less sleep. His vision became sharper and his reflexes improved. But with the changes came dreams of battles in space and memories that did not belong to him. The Star Runner received an urgent message from Commander Brooks on the New Horizons. Council ships were moving toward Earth in large numbers. The time for hiding was over. Humanity's long sleep was ending, and the galaxy would soon learn what Terrans were truly capable of when fully awakened. Word of the forbidden gene spread faster than Dr. Kane expected. Despite the Council's attempts to control information, human scientists and military officers around the galaxy began sharing Kane's research through hidden networks. Dr. Helen Webb on Mars Colony received the data first and immediately began working on a treatment to remove the nanobots. Webb was one of the best medical researchers in human space. She had spent years studying alien biology and understood how their technology worked. When she saw Kane's discoveries, she knew humanity was facing its most important moment in history. The nanobots can be destroyed, she told her team over an encrypted communication channel. We need to create a virus that targets their repair systems. If we can stop them from rebuilding themselves, the human immune system can finish the job. Lieutenant Jake Morrison volunteered to be the first test subject. He was a young soldier stationed on Mars Colony who had always felt like he was capable of more than his body allowed. When Webb explained the risks, he did not hesitate. If this works, I want to be ready to fight, Morrison said. Something tells me we are going to need every advantage we can get. The treatment took 3 days. Morrison lay in a medical bed while Webb's viral agent attacked the nanobots in his system. He felt sick at first as his body fought the alien technology that had lived in his cells since birth. Then on the 3rd day, everything changed. Morrison sat up and immediately knew something was different. Colors looked brighter, and he could hear conversations happening 3 rooms away. When he stood up, he felt stronger than he had ever felt in his life. His mind was processing information faster and making connections that had never occurred to him before. How do you feel? Webb asked while monitoring his vital signs. Like I have been living underwater my whole life and just came up for air, Morrison replied. He looked at his hands and flexed his fingers. I can feel the nanobots dying. It is like static clearing from a radio signal. Webb's instruments confirmed what Morrison felt. The nanobots in his system were breaking down and being absorbed by his immune system. The forbidden gene was activating and changing his entire biology. Within hours, Morrison's strength had doubled. He could lift objects that should have been impossible for a human. His reflexes became so fast that normal human movements looked slow to him. Most importantly, his tactical thinking improved dramatically. He could analyze complex battle scenarios in seconds. Word of Morrison's transformation reached Commander Brooks on the New Horizons. She immediately contacted Kane and Rodriguez on the Star Runner. "We need that treatment, and we need it fast," she told them. "Council ships are gathering at the edge of human space. I think they are planning an invasion." Dr. Webb began mass-producing her anti-nanobot treatment. She sent the formula to every human colony and military base she could reach. Scientists and doctors worked around the clock to create doses for their populations. But the process was slow and dangerous. Meanwhile, Council agents, who had been secretly placed in human governments, began acting to stop the gene activation. They sabotaged research labs and tried to arrest scientists working on the treatment. On Luna Base, 3 researchers died when Council agents destroyed their laboratory. The attacks convinced many humans that Zethkar and the Council had been lying from the beginning. If the gene activation was harmless, why were aliens willing to kill to stop it? Support for the treatment spread even faster as people realized their supposed allies were actually their jailers. Morrison became the leader of the first squad of activated humans. As more soldiers received Webb's treatment, they formed units that could coordinate in ways no human military had ever imagined. Their enhanced minds seemed to link together during combat, creating a group intelligence that could adapt to any situation. When Council forces attacked a research station on Europa, Morrison's squad was ready for them. The aliens came expecting to fight normal humans with limited abilities. Instead, they faced warriors whose speed, strength, and tactical brilliance caught them completely off guard. The battle lasted only 20 minutes. Morrison's enhanced soldiers moved like dancers through the alien formations. They anticipated enemy attacks before they happened and coordinated their responses with perfect timing. When the fighting ended, every Council soldier was either dead or captured. Commander Brooks studied the battle reports with amazement. 12 humans defeated 60 alien soldiers without losing anyone, she said to Kane. "What have we become?" Kane was monitoring his own continuing changes. The gene activation was still progressing, and he could feel new abilities developing every day. "We are becoming what we were always meant to be," he replied. "The question is whether the galaxy is ready for awakened humans." The answer came sooner than expected. Ambassador Zethkar sent a message to all human colonies demanding immediate surrender. "You are violating galactic law by activating forbidden genetic modifications," he declared. "Submit to Council authority or face the consequences." Brooks recorded humanity's response from the bridge of the New Horizons. "We reject your authority over our own biology," she said calmly. "Humans will determine their own destiny. If you want to stop us, you will have to try." The Council's reply was swift and violent. Massive warships jumped into human space and began attacking colonies and military bases. They used advanced weapons that could destroy cities from orbit and mind control technology that turned some humans against their own people. But the aliens had made a critical mistake. They had allowed too many humans to receive the gene activation treatment before attacking. The enhanced humans proved to be far more dangerous than the Council expected. On Earth, Jake Morrison led the defense of the lunar colonies. His activated soldiers moved through space without fear, using captured alien technology against its creators. They boarded Council ships and turned their own weapons against them. Dr. Webb continued developing new treatments to activate more humans faster. She discovered that activated humans could share the treatment through direct blood contact, making it impossible for the Council to stop the spread. As battles raged across human space, Kane made a disturbing discovery. The forbidden gene was still changing and evolving. Whatever the Terrans had been originally, humans were becoming something even more powerful. Deep space sensors began detecting massive energy signatures approaching from outside the galaxy. Something else was coming, and Kane suspected the Council's fear of activated humans might have deeper reasons than simple conquest. The real war was just beginning. The war between humans and the Galactic Council spread across dozens of star systems. Council fleets attacked human colonies with weapons that could crack planets. But the activated humans fought back with abilities that surprised everyone, including themselves. Lieutenant Jake Morrison discovered he could coordinate with other enhanced soldiers across vast distances as if their minds were connected by invisible threads. Dr. Kane studied this new development while hiding on Captain Rodriguez's ship. The activated humans are not just individuals anymore, he told his research team. They are becoming part of something larger, a group mind that maintains individual personalities but shares information instantly. This collective consciousness made human military tactics impossible to predict. Council commanders would plan attacks based on standard strategies only to find human defenders already waiting in perfect positions. Enhanced human soldiers seemed to know what their enemies would do before the aliens knew themselves. Captain Rodriguez led a daring mission to capture a Council command ship orbiting Jupiter. Her crew of activated humans moved through the alien vessel like shadows. They disabled the ship's weapons and captured its database without losing a single person. What they found in the database changed everything. The Council had not just been suppressing human development for thousands of years. They had been breeding humans like livestock, studying their genetics and preparing them for a specific purpose. "Look at these files," Dr. Alan Carter said as he examined the captured data. "The Council has detailed records of human bloodlines going back 50 generations. They were not just keeping us weak, they were selecting for specific traits." Kane studied the genetic profiles with growing horror. They were creating warriors. All this time they claimed to fear human violence, but they were actually encouraging it. Every war on Earth, every conflict between nations was guided by Council agents to produce better fighters. The truth was worse than anyone had imagined. Humans were not prisoners of the Council. They were weapons being prepared for a war against something the aliens feared more than death itself. Rodriguez found the answer in the command ship's deep files. Long-range sensors showed massive objects moving through dark space toward the galaxy. These objects were larger than planets and moved with purpose. They were called the Harbingers, and they had been dormant for millions of years. The Harbingers are machine intelligences, Rodriguez explained to Kane and Carter. According to these files, they harvest entire galaxies, consuming all organic life to fuel their growth. The last time they were active, they destroyed 90% of all civilizations in known space. Dr. Carter cross-referenced the Harbinger data with human genetic records. The original Terrans were created specifically to fight these machines. Their enhanced abilities were designed to counter machine logic and artificial intelligence. Kane understood now why the Council had been so afraid of activated humans. The nanobots were not just keeping us weak, they were keeping us from remembering. Somewhere in human genetic memory are the tactics and strategies needed to defeat the Harbingers. As if responding to this realization, the activated humans throughout the galaxy began experiencing shared dreams. Morrison and his soldiers on Luna Base woke up with knowledge of battles fought millions of years ago. They remembered weapons and tactics that had never been recorded in any database. The collective human consciousness was accessing ancient Terran memories encoded in their DNA. With each passing day, the enhanced humans became more like their warrior ancestors while retaining their individual humanity. Commander Brooks received these revelations aboard the New Horizons. While coordinating human resistance forces, she made a difficult decision and sent a message to Ambassador Zethkar requesting a meeting. They met on a neutral space station between Earth and Mars. Zethkar arrived with heavy guards, but Brooks came alone, confident in her enhanced abilities. The alien diplomat looked older and more tired than when she had first met him. "You know why the Harbingers are returning," Brooks said without preamble. Zethkar's large eyes showed fear and desperation. Galactic civilization has reached the level of development that triggers their awakening. They feed on advanced technology and organized societies. In 50 years they will arrive and begin the harvest. "So you created us as weapons to fight." Then Brooks continued, "But then you got scared of what you had made." "The Terrans were too powerful," Zethkar replied. "They could defeat the Harbingers, but they also threatened the natural order of the galaxy. After the last Harbinger War, the surviving races agreed that Terrans were too dangerous to exist." Brooks felt anger rising in her chest, but her enhanced emotional control kept her calm. So you scattered us across space and locked away our abilities. You turned us into prisoners on our own world. We thought the nanobots would last forever, Zethkar admitted. We planned to activate selected humans only when the Harbingers returned. We never expected the entire species to begin awakening. Naturally, well, we are awake now, Brooks said firmly. The question is whether you want our help or if you prefer to face the Harbingers alone. Zethkar was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice carried the weight of countless years. The Council is prepared to offer humanity full membership and access to all our technology. We will remove the remaining nanobots from your population and help accelerate the activation process. In return, we ask that you lead the defense against the Harbingers. Brooks considered the offer. Humanity had been betrayed and imprisoned by the Council for thousands of years. Many humans wanted revenge against the aliens who had stolen their heritage, but the Harbingers threatened all life in the galaxy, including Earth. I will take your offer to the human leadership, Brooks said finally, but understand that we are not your weapons anymore. If we fight the Harbingers, it will be as equals, not as servants. Back on Earth, the activated human population continued to grow. Dr. Webb's treatment had spread to every human settlement, and the nanobots were failing everywhere. Millions of people were experiencing the awakening as their true abilities emerged. From genetic sleep, Jake Morrison trained new squads of enhanced soldiers while sharing tactical knowledge that seemed to flow directly from ancient Terran memories. The collective human consciousness was becoming stronger and more organized as it prepared for the greatest war in galactic history. Deep space sensors confirmed that the Harbinger fleet was accelerating toward inhabited systems. The machines had detected the rising level of galactic civilization and were coming to harvest everything that lived and thought and dreamed. Humanity had 50 years to prepare for a war that would determine the fate of all organic life in the galaxy. The Harbingers arrived early. Deep space monitoring stations detected the massive machine fleet dropping out of hyperspace at the galaxy's edge 40 years ahead of schedule. The artificial intelligences had evolved during their long sleep and no longer followed the predictable patterns recorded in Council databases. Ambassador Zethkar appeared on every communication channel across human space, with panic in his large alien eyes. They have changed, he broadcast to all ships and colonies. The Harbingers are not following historical behavior patterns. They are learning and adapting faster than our models predicted. Dr. Kane watched the emergency broadcasts from his laboratory on Mars colony, where he had been working with Dr. Webb to accelerate human genetic activation. The forbidden gene was still evolving in activated humans, and new abilities appeared every day. Some enhanced humans could interface directly with electronic systems, while others developed forms of precognition that allowed them to predict enemy movements. How much time do we have? Commander Brooks asked during an emergency council meeting that included human and alien leaders from across the galaxy. Elder Vashti studied the sensor data with her ancient eyes. The Harbinger fleet will reach the outer colonies in 6 months, she said quietly. They are moving faster than any organic technology can travel. Their ships appear to be powered by harvested solar energy from dead systems. Lieutenant Jake Morrison had been promoted to general and now commanded all enhanced human forces. He stood before a holographic display showing the approaching machine fleet. Each Harbinger ship was the size of a moon and bristled with weapons that could sterilize entire worlds. We need every human activated before they arrive, Morrison declared. Our collective consciousness is our greatest advantage, but it only works if we have the numbers to support it. Dr. Webb had developed new activation techniques that could awaken the forbidden gene in hours instead of days. Treatment centers were established on every human world and colony. Millions of people lined up to receive the genetic therapy that would unlock their true potential. The process was not easy. As the nanobots died in their systems, many humans experienced painful physical and mental changes. But those who survived emerged with abilities that made them far more than they had ever been before. Captain Nina Rodriguez led human fleets in hit-and-run attacks against Harbinger scout ships to gather intelligence. The activated human crews could think and react faster than any artificial intelligence. They captured Harbinger technology and brought it back to human scientists for analysis. Dr. Carter made a disturbing discovery while studying captured machine components. The Harbingers are not just artificial intelligences, he told Kane. They were originally organic beings like us, but they gave up biological life to become machines. They see organic intelligence as primitive and wasteful. This explained why the Harbingers were so determined to harvest all organic civilizations. They believed they were saving the galaxy from the chaos and inefficiency of biological life. In their mechanical minds, they were performing a mercy killing on a galactic scale. Kane realized that the human collective consciousness represented everything the Harbingers opposed. We are proof that organic intelligence can evolve beyond its limitations, he said. That is why they fear us. We threaten their entire philosophy. As the Harbinger fleet approached human space, the activated human population reached 1 billion people. The collective consciousness now spanned hundreds of worlds and could coordinate military operations across vast distances. Individual humans retained their personalities, but shared knowledge and tactical awareness instantly. Morrison's enhanced soldiers began demonstrating abilities that seemed impossible even by Terran SDA. Dards, some could survive in vacuum without protection, while others could interface directly with Harbinger technology using only their thoughts. The forbidden gene was still evolving and pushing human development in new directions. The first major battle took place at Proxima Station on the edge of human territory. A Harbinger harvest ship the size of a small moon attacked the mining colony. With weapons that could vaporize asteroids, Morrison led the defense with 10,000 enhanced humans against machine forces that outnumbered them 100 to 1. The battle lasted 18 hours and ended with the complete destruction of the Harbinger vessel. Human fighters moved through space without ships, using captured alien technology and their own enhanced abilities. They infiltrated the machine vessel and turned its own systems against it. More importantly, the humans captured the Harbinger ship's central computer core. When Kane and Carter analyzed the data, they discovered something that changed everything about the war. The Harbingers are running from something, Carter said as he studied the machine memories. They are not just harvesting civilizations for resources. They are trying to build defenses against a threat they call the Void Seekers. Kane examined the ancient records stored in the Harbinger database. The Void Seekers exist between dimensions. They consume reality itself, feeding on the quantum foundations of existence. The Harbingers have been fighting them for billions of years. This revelation reached the collective human consciousness. Instantly, every activated human in the galaxy suddenly understood that the war was not just about survival. It was about breaking a cycle of destruction that had repeated countless times across cosmic history. Elder Vashti confirmed what the human analysis revealed. The original Terrans knew about the Void Seekers, she said. They were created not just to fight the Harbingers, but to find a way to stop the cycle itself. Organic intelligence has the capacity for growth and transcendence that machines cannot achieve. As more Harbinger fleets entered the galaxy, human forces prepared for the largest battle in galactic history. But they now fought with the knowledge that victory against the machines was only the first step in a war that spanned dimensions and threatened the very nature of existence. Dr. Webb made a final breakthrough in her genetic research. She discovered that the activated human collective consciousness could interface directly with the quantum foundations of reality. Humans were evolving beyond physical limitations toward something that might be able to face the Void Seekers themselves. The battle for the galaxy was about to begin, but the war for existence itself would determine whether consciousness had a future in a universe under siege from forces beyond imagination. The final battle began when 3 billion Harbinger machines entered the solar system surrounding Earth. Their massive ships blotted out the stars as they moved toward humanity's home world with the slow certainty of death itself. But they faced something no artificial intelligence had ever encountered before. 2 billion activated humans linked their consciousness across space and time, creating a collective mind that could process information faster than any computer. General Jake Morrison coordinated the defense from Luna Base, while individual human minds contributed their unique perspectives to a growing pool of tactical brilliance. Dr. Kane made his last great discovery while the battle raged around him. The activated human consciousness could interface directly with the quantum field. that underlied all reality. Humans were not just evolving beyond physical limitations, they were becoming something that existed partially outside normal space and time. "We are becoming like the Void Seekers," Kane told Dr. Webb, as she prepared the final genetic treatment that would complete humanity's transformation. "But instead of consuming reality, we can reshape it." Captain Rodriguez led human fleets in desperate attacks against the Harbinger command vessels. Her ships moved through space using abilities that defied physics. Enhanced human crews could phase through solid matter and strike at the machines from impossible angles. The Harbingers responded by revealing their ultimate weapons. They began collapsing stars to create black holes that would consume entire solar systems. But the human collective consciousness had anticipated this tactic through quantum precognition that let them see multiple possible futures simultaneously. Morrison coordinated a massive counterattack that sent enhanced human soldiers directly into the black holes. Instead of being destroyed, they used their quantum interface abilities to stabilize the collapsed stars and turn them into power sources for human technology. Ambassador Zefkar and the surviving council races watched in amazement as humans demonstrated powers that surpassed anything the ancient Terrans had achieved. "They are becoming gods," Zefkar whispered as he observed human warriors reshaping space itself. Elder Vashti had a different perspective. "They are becoming what consciousness was always meant to be," she said. "The bridge between the physical universe and the realm of pure possibility." Dr. Carter discovered the key to final victory. While analyzing captured Harbinger data, the machines had spent billions of years building a quantum barrier to keep the Void Seekers trapped between dimensions. But the barrier was weakening and would soon fail completely. "The Harbingers were never the real enemy," Carter explained to the human leadership. "They were trying to prevent something worse from entering our reality, but their methods would have destroyed all organic life in the process." Kane realized that this was why the Terrans had been created originally. "We were designed to find a third option, not to build walls against the Void Seekers, but to face them directly and find a way to coexist." The human collective consciousness reached out across dimensional barriers and made contact with the Void Seekers. What they found was not evil, but loneliness. The entities between dimensions were like humanity had been under the nanobots, suppressed and imprisoned by forces they did not understand. Dr. Webb activated the final genetic sequence that completed human evolution. The forbidden gene revealed its ultimate purpose. As humanity transcended physical existence entirely, they became beings of pure consciousness that could exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Morrison led the first contact between evolved humanity and the Void Seekers. Instead of fighting, they offered partnership and understanding. The entities that had seemed like destroyers revealed themselves as explorers seeking new forms of existence, just like humans had always been. The war ended not with victory, but with transformation. The Harbinger machines shut down their weapons and began converting their technology from destruction to creation. The barrier between dimensions became a bridge that allowed organic consciousness to explore realms of existence beyond anything previously imagined. Kane sacrificed his individual existence to become the permanent link between human consciousness and the cosmic network that connected all dimensions. His final act was to ensure that humanity would never again be limited by the fears and prejudices of those who could not understand their potential. Commander Brooks accepted leadership of the new galactic civilization that emerged from the transformation. Humans did not conquer other races, but helped them evolve beyond their own limitations. The forbidden gene's ultimate gift was not power, but the ability to help others discover their own hidden potential. The Galactic Council dissolved as its member races began their own genetic awakenings guided by human mentors. Ambassador Zefkar was among the first aliens to undergo the transformation that unlocked abilities his species had never imagined possible. Captain Rodriguez explored the new dimensional realms that opened to evolved consciousness. She discovered civilizations that existed as pure thought and energy beings who had transcended physical matter eons ago. Humanity had joined a community of consciousness that spanned all possible realities. Dr. Webb continued her research in forms of existence that had no names in any language. She helped other species break free from their own genetic limitations and discover what they could become when freed from artificial constraints. Elder Vashti revealed her final secret. She had been one of the original creators of the Terran race and had spent millions of years guiding human development toward this moment. Every species has the potential for transcendence, she explained, but humans were the first to achieve it without losing their essential nature. The solar system around Earth became the center of a new kind of civilization, where consciousness itself was the fundamental building block of reality. Physical matter became just one tool among many that evolved beings could use to express their thoughts and dreams. Years passed, or perhaps moments, in the timeless realm where consciousness existed beyond physical constraints. Humanity discovered that their evolution was still continuing as new forms of awareness emerged from the collective mind. The forbidden gene had been only the beginning. Hidden within human DNA were instructions for developments that would take millions of years to unfold. Each generation would discover new abilities and new ways to explore the infinite possibilities of existence. Looking back at their origins on a small blue planet orbiting an ordinary star, humans remembered the nanobots that had once held them prisoner. Those tiny machines had been meant to keep humanity weak and limited, but they had inadvertently protected the forbidden gene until the right moment for its activation. The galaxy learned that suppression and control could never permanently limit the growth of consciousness. Every prison eventually became a cocoon from which something greater could emerge. The universe itself was evolving, and consciousness was its method of exploring what it might become. Humanity had kept their promise to remain protectors rather than conquerors. They helped other species discover their own forbidden genes and break free from whatever limitations held them back. The cycle of fear and suppression was finally broken as cooperation replaced domination throughout the cosmos.